Hello all and good morning. This morning started as most of my mornings, with a cup of coffee and a half an hour walk with my dog Ulva in the Central Park in Helsinki. Most mornings, like today, I carry a camera with me on my walks. Not just on my morning walks, but more or less in most cases when I leave the house. I've had this habit since 2016, I think, when I was reunited with my passion of photography. I really enjoy taking pictures, as it is the easiest way to do something creative every day. Today I thought we would look at some basic camera settings that you can use for controlling how much your camera is exposed to light. By controlling 3 different settings, you can really make adjustments on how much light gets inside your camera, and that is called exposure. I will start by addressing this dial up here that controls the ISO settings. An easy way to understand ISO to see it as a setting to adjust your light sensitivity on your camera sensor. The higher the number, the more your sensor makes use of the light accessible to your camera when you're taking an image. If you're out on a sunny day, you can use a low ISO number like 100 or 200. During the night, when there is less light, you need to dial up your ISO, like I have done here where I captured this person crossing the street outside the famous jazz club in Helsinki, Storeville. A general rule is that you should always try to use as low ISO number as possible, because higher ISOs introduces noise to your camera image, and noise is like these small dots that looks almost like sand. A second setting that controls your camera's exposure is the so-called aperture setting. This camera I control the aperture from the lens. Inside a camera lens there is an adjustable hole that you can open up or close down with your aperture setting. The more light you need, the lower aperture setting you need, because that means that you open up the hole. And if there is too much light or enough light, you can close it down by setting in a higher aperture number. However, aperture controls not just the amount of light in your image, but also what is called the depth of field. This means that if you open up your lens by dialing in a low aperture, you get more blur in your background. So if you want to take an image, let's say of a landscape or a cityscape, you probably want to close down your aperture to get as much as possible of your image in focus. But for portraits, it usually looks pretty good if you separate your background by blurring it out with a lower aperture number. The last setting that is important when it comes to exposing your image is this dial here, which is the shutter dial. This setting controls light in terms of how long time you expose your sensor to light. Every camera has a shutter that can be understood as a lid that opens and closes inside your camera. The lid or shutter can move extremely fast on modern cameras. On this camera, the fastest setting is 1/8000th of a second. That is super fast, that I don't think I have ever even used. When you're taking pictures, it's important that you dial in a fast enough shutter speed so that you don't introduce motion blur in your image. And this is particularly important when you are taking pictures of fast-moving subjects. But if you are taking a picture of something that doesn't move, like a landscape, it's okay to use a slower shutter speed. Then you can also dial down your ISO and get a cleaner image. So that was the 3 settings you need to know for taking pictures and setting up your camera manually. I've talked about the ISO setting, the aperture and shutter speed, also known as the exposure triangle. Next time I will talk more about how you can apply these settings when you're making videos. Have a good day and I see you soon. Bye.